This is the third generation Ford Raptor. This is the truck responsible for creating, dominating, and perfecting the Baja super truck segment for the last 12 years. The Ram TRX could run because this truck walked in 2010. But now in its third generation, this Ford Raptor is better and more complete than ever before. There's really nothing that this thing can't do. It's the most capable off-road truck in the universe. It can still tow and haul. It sounds like a JDM icon. It rides like a luxury car. It's impossibly spacious and comfortable. It has every feature you could possibly want. It looks badass, and it's fast. I'm going to walk you through what this thing is like to live with and how it behaves on the road before handing over the keys to Paolo to test the off-road credentials at Road America. Yeah, it's genuinely quick. No, it's not as quick as a Ram TRX, and it doesn't sound as good as a Ram TRX. However, that TRX has only been out for 2 years, and before that, the 450 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque that you got in the Raptor, no one complained about that. Of course, what they did complain about was the sound, but Ford has added a trombone loop to make the exhaust runners equal length, and, well, now it sounds like this. But it's not even completely about the exhaust tone out the back. You're assaulted with spool noise from the turbos up front, and there's just so much theater and drama when you step on the accelerator. It's so much fun! Yes, it's the same 3.5 twin-turbo V6 EcoBoost engine under the hood as last gen, and it makes the same 450 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque, and it still goes through the same 10-speed automatic transmission. But all those things have been revisited, revised, and optimized for this third gen. The gearbox is quicker and more aggressive, the throttle response is sharper, and you have nearly as much customizability as you would in a sports car. Yes, you have a plethora of drive mode options that will optimally tune the truck and its powertrain and its suspension for whatever it is that you ask it to do. However, this thing has like the same amount of customizability that you would get in a sports car. I can adjust the steering heft, I can adjust the exhaust tone, and I can adjust the damper settings. Which leads me to the biggest change for this third generation Raptor, and that's the rear suspension. Of course, you have Fox dampers on all four corners, but they're newer, bigger, and stronger. In fact, pretty much everything from the shocks to the knuckles has been beefed up for this third generation. It's almost like Ford wants you to jump this thing. Now, this is a press truck, which means it takes more punishment than any other unit on sale or on the road. And there's video evidence from every journalist in my region jumping this thing again and again and again, and the Raptor keeps coming back for more. And I know that the jumping thing is cool and it's kind of the Raptor thing, but I am just genuinely impressed across the board with how strong and durable and capable of abuse, or capable of taking abuse that this thing is. But when we talk about the rear suspension, the big change they made is moving away from leaf springs from the second gen to now a multi-link spring and damper set in the back. You've got a 5-link system back there, which adds for a lot more refinement. There's a lot more compression, rebound, stroke, articulation, suspension, travel that the rear suspension can now do, and you get a lot of benefits from that. A multi-link suspension in the rear of the truck adds for more sophistication, which means more ways the suspension can compress and rebound to soak up bumps or impacts. You get greater rear articulation, but you also get a more sophisticated and more luxurious ride. And the main benefit of that is with the more sophisticated rear end suspension setup, this thing rides, and I'm not really joking here, like a luxury car. I can adjust the and this is a big body on frame, heavy, 35-inch BFG all-terrain KO2 tire wearing super mega Baja truck. And I still feel like I know exactly what the front wheels are doing. I have great feedback from the steering rack. I have incredible suspension. The ride is soft and supple. It soaks up bumps to the point where it feels like a Mercedes. The body composition, the chassis firms up in a corner in sport mode, and you can tailor it back to have a little bit more roll and articulation and travel and rebound rates from the shocks if you're gonna go off-roading. It's just amazing what this thing has been able to do. It does everything super well. And of course, you can change all of these things individually, the steering, the damper settings, and the exhaust individually from your drive modes on your steering wheel. But let's say you wanted to just let the truck decide and you wanted to ratchet things up into sport mode. Well then, you could do stuff like this. So, it's sports car fast, it's luxury car comfy, it gets a claimed 16 mpg combined, but we've been returning almost 18 in mixed driving, to be more honest, beating on it. The payload is maxing out at 1,400 pounds, towing capacity maxes out at 8,200 pounds, so it's still more truck than 90% of us would ever need. So with that, let's slow down, meet up with Paolo, talk about some of the details before he sends it off-road. All right. Third gen F150 Raptor. This thing is badass. It sounds loud, it looks loud. Cyber orange paint looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I really love the color, and I really love the contrast with the black and the grays on here.
Yeah.
Looks really great. You got your 3 ambient lights. I feel like that's kind of notorious with the Raptor, and that's obviously for regulation standpoints because it's wider than 79 inches.
Yeah, 86.5 inches wide, or 96 inches wide with the wing mirrors out.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah, the contrast is great. You get this wide body, the flared fenders, the bulging hood, like everything about it is dramatic. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, and then for your off-road capabilities, some help here. You have some like tow hooks, you have a steel bumper, which is great. You have these rigid LED lights up front, which Matt has a really
fun fact about these actually. So you've got 2 on each side for your ditch lights, and only one of them is uncovered. So there's a federal regulation where you can only have X amount of lights or X amount of lumens emitted from the front of your car or truck. So it comes with this little cover, but like you can take it off that easy. There it is. It's pretty cool.
Kind of cool that Ford gives that to you, and they kind of they bypass that law.
Yeah.
Going around the sides, you have 35 KO2s as standard. You can option the 37-inch wheels, or tires, I should say, sorry.
Tires.
And that, so ground clearance.
They're both KO2s.
Yeah, they're both KO2s. With the 35s that we have on here, your ground clearance is 12 inches. And with the 37s, you get 13.1 inches of ground clearance.
They look fantastic. You got your beadlock capable wheel. They're all dark finish. And then it's so cool, especially with the cyber orange paint. You get like an orange Fox shock tower in there, or shock body, I should say. It looks just so cool. Everything underneath is very serious. This thing is not to be trifled with.
Yeah, you have your running boards here, which as opposed to the 4Runner, you know, they don't really impede or impose on your ground clearance, which is a nice.
Yeah, the Frontier that we had has those little steps that step down, and we know you can remove the steps. It's a press car. We can't do that.
Yeah.
We can't be modifying press vehicles.
Yeah, people want us to remove the
We've
running
heard
boards
your comments. Thank you.
and turbo cars within a week.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Let's bring it up to 1,000 wheel horsepower and then send it back to stock.
Yeah, we'll try it. That'll be fun.
But no, I mean, it looks fantastic. You've got your running boards that are finished in like a really sticky material. You've got your classic F150 dipped window. From the side, actually, it only comes in Super Cab or Super Crew configuration, so you only get the maximum, full 4 doors. It's incredibly spacious on the inside, and we'll get to that.
Real quick, you have some LED lights here on the side of your side mirrors, so to basically just illuminate anything on the side if you're going through a dark forested area and you want to see what's next to you. And it's all controlled within the inside as well. You can control all the lights, the front lights, side lights, everything like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So in tandem with the Super Crew configuration, that means you only get the 5.5-foot bed, which to me was probably fine, but I would probably leave out this graphic on your rear hip. It's just not particularly my taste. I do like this one though. I don't know what FPGN03 is, but it looks cool. You've got another like Raptor Fang tooth light here, which is kind of cool.
The 30, if you get the 37s, it has another
Yes,
graphic
got
here.
a big 37 on the back,
37.
so everybody knows.
Yes, exactly.
Around the back, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, so I mean, you don't have a steel bumper here. This is, no, actually, it is steel. Steel bumper. You have, the exhaust note actually sounds a lot better. That's one thing that they did fix with this generation. You have some tow hooks here, which is nice. And then probably one of the coolest features is a tailgate that automatically can go down and also automatically go up.
Yeah, I've seen a lot that can go down. It's damped, whatever, fine. But I've never seen a truck that has an automatic tailgate going up.
Yeah, I mean,
which is pretty cool.
It's not new, but it is really, really cool. You also have a bottle opener here on either side. This is a working man's truck and a working man's back area here. So
working man's truck, that's like 80 grand. But sure, let's say that.
You have like some measurements here. So if you're trying to cut a piece of wood or something like that, you have centimeters, inches, goes up to 48 inches. And then
wedge hooks right there.
Why don't you hop back in? So you got an easy step, which is pretty cool, and a handlebar.
I like Fords. It's always super simple. Of course, you've got your spray-in bed liner, your tough bed, you've got tie-downs, rails, all sorts of stuff, interior lighting. But my favorite thing in a modern truck, and we tested it with the hybrid, the Power Boost, you have a 2 kilowatt Pro Power onboard generator in here, which is so cool. You can charge, all of your gear. I did a sim racing thing in the back of the truck, which is stupid. No one will do it, but it was kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, any sort of power tools you can think of, saws, drills.
Saws? For anyone that doesn't get that, we did a modification to his Jeep Wrangler's exhaust, and he was getting a Sawzall, and he called it a Sawzall. I think that's a good time to go inside.
Yeah, let's go inside.
There's really one word that describes this interior, and it's huge.
Yeah, no, it's definitely spacious in here.
Yeah, I think the design overall totally fits the truck. It's like geometric with like a little bit softer edges, but it just looks very like rugged, and it definitely fits the personality of the vehicle. Yeah,
you have a lot of different like textures and designs in here. You have like this fake carbon fiber plastic. You have leather, some imitation steel, metal here.
Talk to me about what's on the door.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Talk to me. Tell me about it.
I'm interpreting it as denim.
I also interpret it as denim.
I really don't
about it though. But I'm about it though.
I don't like it at all.
I think it's cool.
Oh no, it's not great.
It's generally like, I don't think it's quite as good in terms of materials as like something like a Ram, but I really, really like these like aluminum or metal shift paddles. They're huge.
Yeah,
they're like very
cool.
Alfa Romeo to me.
Yeah, those are cool.
So I kind of like that. In terms of comfort, like the seats are incredibly comfortable. They're kind of like suede. The leather is good. You have heated seat, cooled seat. The cooled seat comes on like immediately. Like you turn it on and you're like, oh, okay, it's on.
Heated steering wheel.
Heated steering wheel, yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean the one cool thing also that I think is nice is you actually have speakers in your headrest. You also have some speakers on the roof. And
then we're gonna start covering the features, and there's so many in here. We're just kind of gonna take it from like left to right. So on your far left side, you have like your 3-level memory seats. You've got, of course, your like your mirror controls, but then you have this really cool like orange American flag thing. It's in all of them. I think it's orange in all of them, but it looks, again, really cool. It kind of matches the color of like the Fox shocks. So I really like that attention to detail.
And then I think the other thing that strikes you right away is this full digital cluster that you have here, which has some really nice color tones. It's really sharp. It's got a lot of great information. The one thing that I do wish it had that it doesn't is your navigation map. I think Audi has
kind
that,
of like that virtual cockpit thing that Audi. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a lot of luxurious brands have that, and I think you can have the map right here, but if you're going to go with the full digital, why not just add that feature?
Yeah, and you don't have a head-up display, so it's not like it's going to tell you to turn left, right, whatever. That
looks great though, but just I think one little miss there.
Yeah, the resolution's good, the transitions are good. Of course, you get different looks for different drive modes and all that sort of thing. Of course, the thing that's in front of it being the steering wheel is huge, just like the rest of the truck.
Really girthy.
You've got your noon marker up here at the top that's orange to match the color. But again, we talked about these magnesium paddles. They're huge. It says Raptor down here. On the left of your steering wheel, you've got all of your like driver assistance suite stuff. And let me tell you, the like autopilot quote unquote stuff on here is very good, like shockingly good for something this wide. I felt incredibly confident even passing some big semis with this. It keeps you centered in your lane super well.
Yeah, I feel like with trucks we never really feel that comfortable as opposed to sedans or SUVs.
Even in like the Bronco, it was nowhere near this.
Yeah.
It was a Sasquatch and everything, but like this is the F-150 Raptor. It's bigger, so yeah, to feel that confident is very cool.
Yeah, and then to the right of that you have basically your off-road modes, your 4-wheel drive, your 2-high, your different drive modes. You can lock your rear diff.
Yeah.
You also have some, your towing controls and things like that.
Yeah, so you got the Pro trailer thing. So if you want, like, if you've ever backed up a trailer, it sucks. It's really hard.
Yeah.
If you do it a lot, then you get used to it. But this is a super nice feature. So you can turn this dial in the direction that you want the trailer to go, which is super nice. You've got your brake gain for the trailering as well. And then above your infotainment screen, you've got different buttons. So your camera, your parking sensors, your traction control, and your trail control. It almost seems like just a random assortment of buttons. Also, your hazard lights are up there, but I don't know. They have to go somewhere, and I like that they're physical buttons.
Yeah, and I also, speaking of that, I like that you actually have physical knobs as well for your temperature, which is awesome. Volume, because we also have the Venza this week, and I think
there's no physical buttons.
There's no button. It's so frustrating. You also have so many different charging ports up here. You have a 12 volt.
Yes.
Your AC 120 standard outlet here. You have USB ports, USB-C. There's so many different types of ports in here. One of my other favorite features is the ability to put down your gear selector.
Yeah.
And then you can fold the center console to basically make a mini table. So if you were trying to do some paperwork or...
It's kind of like the Pro Power onboard thing. It's like, and this is even more simple than that. It's just a simple idea that's like, how have we not done this by now?
Yeah.
Like this is a simple thing that is huge. But yeah, you've got cup holders here. They're not big enough for the Downshift water bottle of truth, but we've got our extenders, and then you've got a little clever phone slot right here, which is really nice. Yeah. And then let's talk about this infotainment system. So it's a huge 12-inch screen, and it's running Sync 4, and it gets over-the-air updates. It's totally plugged in, totally modern.
Yeah, and then you also have wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, which is pretty cool. We kind of already mentioned the zone lighting, but yeah, you can control everything through here. The cameras that you have are also really high quality.
Yeah.
It looks amazing. We actually need to clean that off before we go on the course.
No, but the resolution's super good.
Yeah, they look good.
And you can totally customize pretty much any view that you want. If it's just the front, just the back, there's one for your bed, there's one for specifically your trailer hitch.
That's super cool.
It's super nice. And of course you can control your Pro Power on board. It'll tell you exactly how much power it's sending out as well, which is super nice. So if you're running a bunch of different tools and you don't want to max out the power, then you can keep an eye on that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and then the back seat, it's obviously extremely spacious back there. I do think the one thing that they missed back there as well is there's no climate controls for the back, only front climate control. So
yeah, you do have heated seats back there though.
That's coal. Yeah, but if you want to have it a little bit cooler than the front,
you're kind of out of luck.
So many cup holders back there, a lot of different charging ports as well. You have a house outlet as well, so a lot of areas to charge stuff, to store things.
Yeah, the rear seats themselves fold up, which is pretty typical, but underneath you have almost another container bin type thing, and behind that is actually the batteries for the Pro Power onboard thing, so for the generator thing. There's one thing that's missing on this that I would like to have, and it's the full sunroof. Yeah. So in other Raptors, you can option a sunroof, which will basically go from the end of your front visors basically all the way back, which is super nice.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. All right.
Should we yeah,
let's get on the course.
Let's do it.
All right, before we head on to the course, I obviously just want to say thanks again to Road America for letting us use their course. We really appreciate it, guys. But let's get into this first obstacle here. So first thing we're going to test is the agility. Now, in Wisconsin, there's a lot of tight and windy forest roads, and this thing's obviously extremely wide. So we're going to see how it does. Yeah, the turning radius of this thing is obviously not that great, and it's extremely wide. That's a pretty tight hairpin corner when you first come in here. So, so let me just talk about what I'm in. I am in snow and sand mode here. I am in 4 high. I have the rear locker on, and it's kind of cool if you go into any of the kind of off-road modes. The cameras automatically go on. So I'm here, I'm gonna turn that off. That is frustrating. I'm gonna reverse a little bit though. This thing is a bit challenging to drive through here, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, the one thing I wish back there that the Bronco had was the trail turn assist, which can basically lock one of your back wheels to improve your turning radius. Would be super helpful in this thing. This F-150 Raptor has a foot of ground clearance and incredible suspension travel, so getting over obstacles isn't really a concern. It's more so trying to manage the 86.6-inch wide body next to these trees and somehow getting the over 20-foot long body to turn. Okay, so we just finished up with the forest section, and I think like the struggles and issues that we had in there with traction, it's going to be the same thing here. We're on to the hill section now. Luckily, we have a lot of torque and power, so we'll be able to get up these hills. We also have a good approach and departure angle. The one thing that I am a little bit nervous about is the breakover angle at 22.7 degrees. So we might bottom out. We did it in the frontier. I guess we're gonna see here, there's 3 hills and they basically increase with difficulty. So let's see, this is the smallest hill. Let's give it a shot. I'm in 4 high. I think I'm still in sand and snow mode. I got the rear diff locked, front camera here, and we are gonna make sure I have power so I don't fall backwards already. I don't think I made it. No, I need a lot more power. So we need to start further back. The tires are just so caked. Okay, here we go. Oh my God! Ah! That was not fun. The scary part is, on the sides, there's just such a steep drop off. It's quite intimidating. So this one is not as steep going up, but on the back side, it's quite steep, and then there's just a bunch of rocks. So
that's when you really have to hit the brakes at the top.
Okay, yeah, we're scraping a little bit. A little bit of scrape, and it's so slippery on this little rock garden here at the bottom. But I'll tell you what, that first one was a lot more difficult, just because it could get no traction to start to try and get up the hill. Oh, that first one made me a little bit nervous. At the top, my back end started to slide a little bit to the side, and I thought I was definitely gonna slide down one of the sides, which would not have been fun. The hills were no problem for this thing. We did bottom out a few times, but that's what protection is for. This thing does have trail control, but we prefer to remain in control ourselves. But with that, let's head over to the moguls and test the articulation. Okay, now we're at one of our favorite tests, is the moguls, and this is super exciting because this is actually the first time we're doing this where there's no snow on the ground. So I think we're gonna be able to get some really cool shots. This obviously just gives us a really nice visual of how much travel and articulation the Fox shocks can get, and it shows, you know, how much strength the chassis and the structure has. So let's see if we can get this thing in a tripod. This will be fun. I'm a little nervy. Slipped. It's at 14% pitch per roll, fine. I went through this with rock crawl on to minimize wheel slippage with the rear diff locked up. And just as you can imagine, the Raptor got through this with no problems. So there it is, the 3rd gen Ford Raptor. We've made countless videos talking about this thing leading up to its debut last year, so it's nice to finally get our hands on and experience it. So thank you to Ford and to Road America for letting us have a go in it.
And after having spent a week with this thing, there's almost nothing we don't like about it. It's so capable, it's got such a soul to it, and it's so well equipped. It was wildly impressive this week, and it makes us even more excited for the supercharged V8 Raptor R coming later this year. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you then.